I'm curious, why do you think that the tariffs are playing such an important role there? Because tariffs inherently are going to increase the cost of raw materials needed to build these manufacturing plants, robots, et cetera.
So I've been playing in the tariff game for a long time. In the solar industry, tariffs have existed for a very long time. There's tariffs put on China, then they move the manufacturing down to Cambodia, so on and so forth. And so whenever a tariff is implemented, especially a drastic tariff, like 85%, 200%, whatever else, it just changes the rules of the game and people no longer play the previous game. And so when these tariffs are being threatened and put out, what it's doing is saying, okay, we can no longer manufacture in China. We can no longer manufacture. All our invested dollars have to go to a place where we are going to be tariffed the least, which in this case would be moving manufacturing to the United States, right? Because we have the land, we have the resources, we do not have the technology and the actual manufacturing ability. And so we have to bring that back home. Now, this is a long play. It doesn't happen overnight, but what we've seen over the last month, 4 to 6 weeks, is we've literally seen trillions of dollars that are now being allocated to the development of new manufacturing facilities here in the United States, right? The UAE, United Arab Emirates, they're dedicating $1.2 trillion over the next 5 years here in the United States. That's what they're investing in manufacturing in the United States. Apple is allocating $500 billion to the development of manufacturing and facilities. And this has all taken place since Trump has taken office and started threatening with these tariffs. Like, most people aren't hearing this because it's not being talked about on the news. But like, these are the things that are happening. All the major players are now saying the rules of the game have changed. The only way I'm going to be able to continue to play by the new game is if I move my manufacturing facilities to the United States of America. And most people, when they hear that, they think, oh, why would we want these cheap labor jobs? Like, the reason we got rid of manufacturing to begin with is because, cheap labor. Again, cheap labor is not the distinguishing factor in a future with robotics and AI. Robotics and AI replaces all your cheap labor. And so, like, that's where I'm at. And I'm like, oh, freak, man, I gotta make sure that I'm investing in all those things and staying on the cutting edge of how I can utilize robotics and AI to the best of my ability.
And one of the big things that I think that I hear from you, Chris, is the chaos that the tariffs bring. And, just to a business owner who's got a stable business that's working, let's say you're in e-com, for example, and all of a sudden they're like, Trump's like 125% tariff on China. And then China's like 110% tariff on you. And all of a sudden you're in e-com, you're like, oh crap, what do I do? I don't think we've seen the end of that. I mean, they're just tariffs all over the place. And all of a sudden Trump said, we're going to put a 90-day pause on it. But there's so much chaos. How do we navigate that chaos to find the opportunities?
That's a great question. So first of all, I think the thing that we have to realize is that we've kicked the can down long enough, and there has to be a reset to the way that the global economy works, right? And so understanding that as a business owner, my focus has to be on building skill and culture, not necessarily a strategy that I'm going to stick with for the rest. Like, we've got to be able to pivot on strategy on a drop of a hat. When Trump comes out and says, yo, 125% tariff on your one product that you sell, now you have to take your skills that you've built, whether it's sales or online, drop shipping, whatever it is, right? Like that you build out, and you've got to figure out, okay, the rules of the game have changed. How do I take my skills and my culture that I've created with my team to go and apply? And I think this is just an imperative to any business at any time. It doesn't matter if Trump's in office, if Biden's in office. Like, when I was building my business, one of the key culture aspects that we always talked about, I said, hey, look, here at SolGen, we are building a culture. We are going to develop out your skills. We're going to make you fantastic at everything that you do. You're going to be better people, better contributors to society. Right now, our strategy is solar, but that could change. That could be, and we would literally tell our team this all the time. We'd be like, hey, 6 months from now, we could be selling a completely different product. We are all in on solar right now, but we've got to be always preparing ourselves to be able to take the skills that we have and be able to shift them over into another industry. And I think that's just any great business has to have that real conversation and can't just be caught with their pants down